hour of going on the air for the first time this morning. Brian Hanrahan was among those who got up early to see the show.
The BBC breakfast has chosen a clean-cut image.
It's 6:30, Monday, January the 17th, 1983.
A wholesome family of presenters, a prosperous living room, and programming that's determinedly popular. Like commuters on Waterloo Station, induced to join green goddess Diana Moran in exercises.
Stretch!
A wary eye on their new rivals was being kept by the radio channels, with their joint audience of 16 million. But they hope people will dip into both, and Terry Wogan, for one, was being magnanimous.
It's bound to succeed, I think, eventually. I think you're going to get a honeymoon period when a lot of people will look out of curiosity, and then they'll see that it's good, and they'll watch it. Many people won't have the time, or indeed the extra television set to see it, but I still think it will succeed. I hope it will, anyway.
You say it's your audience they're trying to pinch. Do you have a vision of who it is that's sitting out there and listening to you every morning?
Yes, I think you could say that this morning marks the decline, and high time, too, of Terry Wogan. I think I'll probably be a shattered hulk of a man in about 2 years' time, and nobody will know me at all. And I think you and your kind are responsible. And clear out of my studio, Hannah.
The breakfast table, rather than the turntable, will decide if the new service is successful. The Halls, both Bradford teachers, got up specially early to sample it, even though with 2 young children, it meant some disruption of the morning routine.
Well, a little bit, yes. We had to, I think, just so we could see it from the beginning, got up a little bit earlier.
Mr. Hall, what do you think of the contents?
I've enjoyed it. It's been varied. I've only seen pieces, and then we've been dashing off from place to place. I haven't seen the full run-through of it to sit and watch it. But the parts I've seen have been nice and relaxed, casual, and entertaining.
Breakfast Time doesn't expect people to stay glued to the set, but to take a segment before setting off for schools, shops and offices. This morning, the programme overflowed with relief at getting on the air with only the most acceptable of accidents. The trick will be to keep the sparkle when the champagne...
With the early risers from the BBC studios in Lime Grove, a behind-the-scenes look.
Have to wait and see whether breakfast time viewing will become a national habit. Certainly the signs are promising if the 1,500 phone calls of congratulation to the BBC today are anything to go by. Well, our Hugh Scully was up all night watching, behind the scenes, the start of what's been called the most important development in British TV since BBC Two.
It's just coming up to 2:30 in the morning. For many of the people who work on the new programme, breakfast time is actually a misnomer. For them, it's an all-night sitting. From now on, rather like the old Windmill Theatre, they'll be able to claim they never close. Providing 2.5 hours of live television every morning is a 24-hour-a-day operation. The first editions of the newspapers have been here since before midnight. I see the Express asks on its front page just who will watch the early birds. Well, everyone here knows that on the first morning at least, the audience will be huge. The continuing battle will be to keep them.
Hello, Frank, it's Janice. Good morning. See you later. Bye.
No greater love hath a man for Nationwide than to be caught shaving on a morning like this.
The veteran of Grandstand and Nationwide, variously described in the press as the father figure and Uncle Frank, lives half an hour away by the Thames in Berkshire.
Sort of day you'd cut yourself, isn't it?
The last time he was broadcasting quite so early was for the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico. Long before the dawn chorus has even begun to tune up, he's on his way to work.
Well, I tell you, if you have to commute, there's no doubt at all this is the time to do it. It's 20 to 4 in the morning, and those of you familiar with the M4 simply wouldn't recognize it. There's absolutely nothing in sight. Amazing.
Find a seat if you can.
For the past 6 weeks, getting breakfast television on the air has been Frank Boff's sole preoccupation. A less familiar figure, though not, I think, for long, is the weatherman. Francis Wilson's forecasts and his shirts bear little resemblance to anything you're ever likely to see from Michael Fish. His style and presentation is original, not an isobar in sight.
Oh, well, this is reality. I mean, people would understand, looking at a cloud, that clouds are there. If you go for isobaric charts, although they're useful tools to me and people that know the jargon and so on, no one's seen an isobar. And how many people do you see hanging around pubs talking about isobars? But people do talk about clouds and they know what they look like, so I figure that we ought to show them something that they're familiar with.
2 hours before transmission, the other presenters arrive. Selina Scott and Nick Ross, who takes over later in the week, are there for the first briefing from editor Ron Neal.
We're already half an hour into the programme. Welcome.
Yeah.
You know, now you need to, in other words, you just need to reiterate the opening thoughts of the programme. It is now going to spurt into life as of this morning, with information, with news, with sport, and with a light-hearted touch, because I think it's terribly important when you start the day that you don't start it in a heavy way. A lot of people feel pretty rotten when they get up in the morning, and so we are going to go out of our way to make it a very relaxed approach to the start of the day.
All that? The programme aims to cater for a wide variety of tastes. Among the features, there's the programme's resident astrologer, Russell Grant. As you might expect, he predicts a bright future for breakfast television, saying the planets are in exactly the right position.
We're going to do 2 pop slots. In other words, for the general public, we're doing your stars for the week. We're doing your birthday stars too. But we're also doing a more serious toned astrology, such as the natal chart, which is the date, time, place of birth, the proper characteristics and the trends for an individual. And we're also doing special features, whether I'm down in Soho with the Chinese on Chinese astrology night or whatever. And also they're going to, I think in February, launch me on the unsuspecting public, so you can actually have me, a gruesome sight, on your doorstep at 7 o'clock in the morning. That will certainly wake them up.
Congratulations to you.
Whether it's stargazing or sport, gardening or keeping fit, Breakfast Time is unashamedly the tabloid of television. It's nearer in style to the Daily Mirror than the Times. But there's a very firm commitment from BBC Television News, with full bulletins every hour and summaries every quarter hour.
Killed in an air crash, at least 2 are Britons. The Home Secretary...
The shape of the programme, the way it's developed, everything from the choice of presenters to the colour of the carpets, is designed to create a relaxed and informal atmosphere. Editor Ron Neal wants it to appeal to the widest possible audience.
The various surveys that have been done would suggest that only a minority of people are potentially interested.
Well, the survey you're talking about, which was reported in this morning's press, suggested that only 4 out of 10 might watch. That's an awful lot of people. I mean, if 4 out of 10 are watching the programme, I'll be delighted.
Breakfast Time, though relaxed on the air, is a complex programme to put together. It's also very fast-moving. In 2.5 hours, they'll get through about 150 separate items. So there's been a huge investment in new technology. Breakfast Time has almost certainly the most sophisticated electronic newsroom in the world. And it's not just a gimmick, it's necessary. Because people are working such very complex shift patterns, it's quite possible that the producer of an item and the presenter of it will never meet. This is their link. Now, one of the studio guests later this morning is to be Harry Seacombe. When the presenters come in, they will consult the computer, which will provide them with everything they need to know about Sir Harry. Where he was born, when, virtually everything he's done since, what time the taxi's picking him up to bring him to Lime Grove, and indeed, what he likes for breakfast. Soon after 6 o'clock, Sir Harry and the other studio guests begin to arrive, and today, half of Fleet Street was up early too.
That's it. You will print it. How about a yawn, Harry? How about a yawn? Yeah. I didn't carry on.
Lovely. Can't you find someone better to photograph than me?
Norman St. John Stevens drops in to review the morning papers.
Get up at this time of the morning, sir. What?
Minutes later, it's 6:30, and breakfast television comes to Britain.
Run VT.
5.
This is BBC
4, 3.
In a few moments,
2.
it'll be breakfast
1.
time.
0. We're on the air.
We're on the air, good luck. It's one thing we didn't forget to run.
It's 6:30, Monday, January the 17th, 1983. You're watching the first edition of BBC Television's Breakfast Time, Britain's first ever regular early morning television programme. Very good morning to you all. From now on, 5 days a week.
During the 2.5 hours the programme was on the air, it was as technically near perfect as any first programme is ever likely to be. In that sense, it was a great success. The wider questions of whether the audience will be large enough to warrant the investment are still to be answered.
It is the biggest investment by the BBC since BBC Two. Is it really justified?
Yes, of course it is. It's not costing the licence payer any more money. The licence fee hasn't gone up as a result of it. We are going to be supplying, offering the audience 650 hours more television a year for the same licence fee. I think it's justified. I think we'll give people a very entertaining, informative 2.5 hours every morning.
Well, I woke up at 6:30 specially to watch them. I bet you any money they're fast asleep by now, not watching me. Breakfast.
Fairly smoothly with the cornflakes. There were 1,500 calls from viewers praising the programme. Europe's first regular morning show on television started at 6:30, and among the early risers watching was our reporter, Brian Hanrahan.
The BBC breakfast has chosen a clean-cut image.
It's 6:30, Monday, January the 17th, 1983.
A wholesome family of presenters, a prosperous living room, and programming that's determinedly popular. Like commuters on Waterloo Station, induced to join Green Goddess Diana Moran in exercises. But although at 43 she could tempt the travellers, the railman had other ideas. The radio channels, with a joint audience of 16 million, were being relaxed about their new rival. Terry Wogan, with the largest and most poachable share, wished them well, warily.
I think you could say that this morning marks the decline, and high time, too, of Terry Wogan. I think I'll probably be a shattered hulk of a man in about 2 years' time, and nobody will know me at all. And I think you and your kind are responsible. And clear out of my studio, Hannah. I've never liked him, you know. Poor Bough. Oh, Scott. Why didn't they ask me? I'm still young and lovely.
The breakfast table, rather than the turntable, will decide who's got the right mix. The Halls, both Bradford teachers, got up specially early to sample it, even though with 2 young children, it meant some disruption of the morning routine.
Well, a little bit, yes. We had to, I think, just so we could see it from the beginning, got up a little bit earlier.
Mr. Hall, what do you think of the contents? I've enjoyed it. It's been varied. I've only seen pieces, and then we've been dashing off from place to place. I haven't seen the full run-through of it to sit and watch it. But the parts I've seen have been nice and relaxed, casual, and entertaining.
The presence in the studio of the BBC chairman and its Director General demonstrated the new programme's importance. Not just flying the BBC flag into new territory, but pioneering machinery and techniques at considerable cost that could reshape the making of TV programmes. Just to get it all working was cause enough for celebration. But the trick will be to keep the sparkle when the champagne goes flat.
Viewers in Holland saw breakfast time too. Dutch TV showed all 2.5 hours of it, and well over 1,000 people phoned in there to say they liked it. Comments from television critics here have been a little mixed. The Sun's headline, agony and ecstasy with the cornflakes. The Mirror's critic has 2 children and she found it smooth and filling, but writes it brought havoc in the house. The Express said it was a bit like the morning in general, sleepy, uncertain, and often begun by getting out of the wrong side of bed. And the Times thoroughly approved, a bright, bold debut. TVAM will have to fight very hard for its own share of the audience. Somewhat overlooked in the attention given to the opening of the breakfast show, 2 new BBC local radio stations got on the air today, serving Devon, Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly.
Good morning, good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from the Leeds City Varieties, where we have, for your delectation and delight, some miraculous moments unparalleled in the history of British breakfast television. First on the bill this morning, for your jocularity, joviality, and jocundity, will you welcome the juggling japes of Jasper from Jarrow? Thank you, Jasper. But wait. There's magic in the air. The Merlinesque mysteries of the mighty Maldwyn from Merthyr. one from Merthyr. Obviously a little tidfill this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I've just received a note. Ooh. Thank you, dear. I'll read it later. But now, the real starlets of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting chiefly yourselves. And now, your stars for the day. Auntie Ivy of Bearwood. I've had enough of that. Back to me. Julie from Manchester, Kathleen Cowdery of Birkenshaw, Noel Gordon Dunbar of Nuneaton, Diane Coleman Hastings, Guido Lorraine of Ambleside, Margaret from County Durham, Winifred from Edinburgh, Peggy and Maggie from Wakefield, Richard, Naomi and James from Bradford, the Grant family, no relation, of Bromley in Kent, and Michael Trewartha of Llanharan in the county of Glamorgan. Hold on to your hats now, because it's Aries. An excellent time for sorting out your emotional feelings once and for all. Don't torture yourself with a masochistic outlook, because things are going to be great. On to Taurus. Friends are very important to you now, as is your social life. If you're a lonely bull, get out now and you'll meet a real new companion. Gemini, you are at an important landmark when it comes to your career and ambitions. This could be a testing time, but don't worry, because professionally you are on the way up. On to Cancer. For a long time now you've been restricted and cramped by others, but don't worry, this could be a very conducive time if you think before you act. Okay? Leo, you're incredibly intense at this time because you seem to attract people who are very powerful and somewhat intense. Don't worry, steer clear of them and you'll be fine, but know what you're entering into. Virgo, there's a full moon in Pisces today. Make sure all your relationships don't become too emotional and hypersensitive. If you do, then out of bad will come good. Now on to Libra. Be very practical now, and don't let your emotions hold you back. It's a good time to keep control of your feelings, and everything will be A1. On to Scorpio. A whole new vista will open up in your love life, but clear a path first, because past relationships or even loved ones could hold you back, and women generally need some sorting out. Sagittarius, don't do anything that's too open or in public, because people will take advantage of you. And by the way, domestic changes are afoot, which may mean ploughing up your roots where necessary. Capricorn, your instincts are amazingly profound at present, which is great for all communications around you. Mentally, you are aware of a need for a new outlook, which is just the time to pursue it now. Aquarius, money and all material matters are placed on the high priority list from today. For instance, possessions from the past should be flung out, and don't be over-possessive, okay, Aquarius? And finally, Pisces. That full moon in your sun sign is bound to create a hypersensitive atmosphere around you. Try to keep things in perspective, and alterations in your personal world cannot be avoided now. It's a time to close one door, because another will soon open. And now back to that lark ascending, that silver-throated songstress, the Petunia of the octaves, accompanied by Antoine on the pianola and Bert on the drums. Yes, it's pretty Polly Parton from Paisley. Whatever before, I still recall that sunlit mountainside, where hearts are true and skies are blue, and love's the only guide. In faithful to my trust, I'll stay. What fate can fill me with dismay? Love holds the key to set me free, and love will find
What can I say? Russell?
The maths genius who reckons there's joy in numbers. And Russell in boots. Russell Grant proves there's no substitute for the real stars at Elland Road. All that in the next 60 minutes here on Breakfast Time.
Oh, Struth, I've had enough of all this. Here, you, come over here.
How are you,
What are you doing, sticking your ball right in the back of my net? Always in that. Gwyn Thomas.
Yes.
You're a Libra and starlet, aren't you?
Correct, yes.
We've excelled ourselves. Nice jersey. Take that and
Thanks
go.
Thanks
Before
very
you
much.
do. Before you do. Now, you are a Libra, and in fact, Libra has just come out a couple of years of bad times, transformation and all the rest of it. And I would say that most Librans are going to go through good trends now. Most people I've spoken to have said that they're pinning their hopes on you, Gwyn, so what do you say to that for the club?
Well, I hope they can pin their hopes on me and that we are successful this season. Get promotion.
Said with typical Libran style and panache. Now leave me and go. Never darken my gold step again.
Okay.
On with the stars. Right, what a sporty day we're having, aren't we? Starlets of the day, Gavin Lord of Batley, Annette Priest of Blaydon, Dorothy Boucher of Caterham, Lindsay and Graham Morley of Tonbridge, Jean and John Williamson of Toronto, County Durham, Spencer Christie of Morden, Essex, Pamela Cunningham of West Kilbride, Lily Gordon of Glasgow, Doreen John and Elaine Bull of Ruislip, Paul Morgans and Auntie Isabel of Gwent, Richard Kirk of Redditch, and finally David Duncan of Lawrence Kirk in the county of Kincardine. Aries, hold on to your hats. Working environments are needing a good sort out, and yet you don't have the time or inclination to tackle anything at present. Take care of work colleagues. They may get up your nose today. Taurus, children